Good morning, Knicks Nation. It is Thursday morning, October 1st. I wanted to do a video. Several of you some very strongly have been asking for with regard to the Knicks' newest acquisition, Jared Harper. Jared Harper was waived by the Phoenix Suns, NAZ Suns, the Phoenix Suns G League affiliate, earlier this year. And the Knicks claimed him on waivers in June of this year. So let's talk about Jared Harper. Now, Jared Harper is 23 years old. He came out of Auburn University, same university where Isaac Okoro is now declaring for the draft after his freshman year. But I think Harper played 4 years of college basketball. Okay, so let's talk about his strengths, first of all. Obviously, he's extremely quick. He's a very quick player, almost unguardable in terms of the quickness that he brings to the table. Especially, you can see that would be effective in the NBA where there's more spacing, and especially now with the way the game is being called by the referees in terms of touch fouls, in terms of much less physicality. His quickness would be a great benefit. Would be a tremendous asset. He is a really good shooter, very good, tremendous shooter, as a matter of fact. So he can shoot the ball. He can shoot the ball from range. He's extremely quick. He can get to the basket. He's a good passer as well. So offensively, he has pretty much the whole package. The obvious problem, the elephant in the room, is his size. He is 5'10". He's listed at 175 pounds. And that's an obvious limitation in terms of defense. And the reason is because he would, okay, let's just put it this way. On an NBA team, you don't have to, let's say the New York Knicks from last year, even. You got, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett, Elfrid Payton, and who did they start at the two last year? Oh, I don't know. Let's just throw Dot out there. Let's say it was Dot. Okay. NBA teams will continue to switch until they get on the weakest player. Okay. And that's when they'll attack that player. In Harper's case, they won't need to switch to get somebody on a low block. They can get somebody switched onto him from anywhere that person can shoot the ball. If the person's a 3-point shooter, Jared Harper cannot bother the 3-point shot because of his height limitations. If they got him in the mid-range, he can't do anything against a person in the mid-range because of his height limitations. And then, of course, if they do get him on a low block in a switch with any other player, Dot or Elfrid Payton or whoever it is, that person from 1 or 2 feet or 5 feet away from the basket can easily just shoot over Jared Harper. It's not, that would happen continually, in the NBA while he was on the court. Now, so what role could he possibly play? And I think that's probably why he wasn't drafted, probably why he was waived by the Suns. But that doesn't mean he can't play. Obviously, he's a tremendous offensive player. So now you look at, again, I mentioned Isaiah Thomas yesterday, and it's the same with this kid here. Isaiah Thomas is about 5'11". They can list him as 6 feet, and that's being generous. I think Isaiah Thomas is really under 5'11". I think he's like 5'9" or 5'10". And he's got the same problem, when he gets on the court. But Isaiah Thomas is thicker. He's stronger, more muscular. So he can push a little bit against, those type of mismatched situations. But again, he is a liability. So most of the time, teams would keep him as a guy that comes off the bench as a spark, a scorer off the bench for like 5 minutes at a time. Okay. That's what you want. And then you'd maximize a guy like that. If you need baskets, you're not getting baskets. You bring him off the bench and suddenly, you're going to get some baskets because of his extreme speed and quickness with the basketball and his shooting ability. But you cannot keep him too long, because if you keep him out there too long, they'll begin to exploit him on the other end. And then it just nullifies whatever you were trying to do in terms of getting an advantage with his scoring ability. So those are the issues with Jeff Harper. And that's probably why he was on the G League to begin with, and probably and then he was waived by the Suns. That doesn't mean he can't score. Many people look at his offensive output and say, "Oh," and they're dazzled by it. And listen, you gotta play some defense in the NBA. You gotta play some, okay? And I don't think his size will allow him to play even adequate defense in the NBA. He is, like I said, he's somebody that if you're gonna have him, the Knicks obviously have not waived him. They picked him up. They probably are looking at him as a bench scorer, as somebody that can come off the bench and get quick buckets. That's what you want from a guy like that. And again, to maximize his use in that position, in that capacity, you definitely want to minimize the number of minutes he plays. You want to get the most out of him for the fewest number of minutes. Do not give the other team, the opponent, opportunity to adjust and suddenly start taking advantage of him. And in limited minutes, you can mask him a little bit. You can keep him on the perimeter. You can keep him on the perimeter, and then you can provide help. It adds extra pressure to the other four defenders, but you're looking for that just for a limited time so that you can get some quick buckets. That's where he comes in. You get 6, 8 quick points, and then you take him out. And I think that's where Harper's value comes. He's definitely not a starting guard on an NBA team, and because he is too small. I mean, I'm just saying he's not strong enough. Muggsy Bogues was small, 5'3", but if you look at him, he was built like a fire hydrant. Okay, and he could pressure players the full court, 90 feet, end to end, all game. His speed was such like that, and even he had liabilities defensively, but he carved out a really nice career. Maybe Jared Harper can do the same thing. He's definitely quick enough. We'll have to see, but I see him as a player that can be used in limited minutes to get some quick buckets on an opponent. Give you a spark off the bench. Get you back in the game. Maybe you're down 6, down 8. This guy comes in, scores 6 or 8 quick ones, and he can shoot the 3. Very good 3-point shooter as well. And so he can disrupt for a minute and then get him out before they start taking advantage of him by just simply shooting over him. They don't have to it doesn't have to be, with a guy like that, it doesn't have to be a low block, back to the basket mismatch. It could be a mismatch anywhere on the court. Because he's, you get a guy that's, today your wing players are in the 6'6" range, 6'7" range. This guy's 5'10". So you get somebody that can shoot the ball a little bit, even mid-range, that's 6'5", 6'6", and he's not going to have any problem shooting. It's going to be like shooting practice. He's not going to have any problem shooting over Jared Harper. And so that's the issue you have with him. So, the Knicks are going to, obviously, they want to take a look at him. That's why they picked him up. And he's on a 2-way contract right now. So they're going to take a serious look at him. He's on a 2-way contract, and they're going to see what they have. And, like I said, that's what I see for him. I see a bench role scorer off the bench, limited minutes. And he could, if he could carve out a career just like, Muggsy Bogues did, or just like Isaiah Thomas did, pretty much playing that position. Gotta be careful though, because if you remember, like Isaiah Thomas, he did hurt his hip, in contact. That's what happens when you have a small frame in the NBA. He's coming in with guys that are, 250, 230, 220, 300 pounds, and he's going to get, knocked down a little bit. And that he has to be tough, but, his body is small. So, it might wear down, but that's it. That's what you got with Jared Harper. So we'll see what happens. I know a lot of you are very excited about the young man. We all wish every person that's pursuing their dreams in the NBA to get their dreams in the NBA. But I am just looking at it from a hard analysis in terms of how they're going to help our team, the Knicks. And that's what I see. So let me know what you think. This is a shorter video because it wasn't that difficult. I looked at some Auburn highlights. I looked at some G League highlights of him, and I looked at a game against Duke that he played against RJ. And those are the things that came out. Shalom.